man. Congratulations for being the first one. So yeah, man, thanks again for calling us. Anybody out there has a comment for or a question for Kyle? Come in with your call sign now. All right, nothing heard. Thanks again, Kyle, for checking in, and have a great night and an awesome week. We're gonna go now to Court. That's KA5C. Court, how are you doing, man? How's your weekend treating you?
Good evening. Thanks for hosting the net. This is Court, KA5C, and the weekend was another good one in a long lifetime series of good weekends. Started Friday when I met Kyle down at the French legation downtown, and we activated that park QRP with a little wire antenna, and then went home, went to bed, got up Saturday morning, went for a walk, and got rained on in the process, and I was happy about it because everyone should be happy about rain. And we got over half an inch. And then I came out later in the day when it dried out and did the yard work, harvested some tomatoes, blackberries. My wife's coming home from over 2 weeks in Europe tomorrow morning, and, so I had to clean up the place, of course. And then made fish tacos for dinner, and went rowing this morning on Lady Bird Lake. Met Kyle for a beer, made some plans for this week, and then made a big old pork roast, because when I'm gone to Galveston with Kyle and my family, and my wife's going to be home, so I'm banking food for her so that she doesn't have to cook after coming, home from long weeks of travel. And I think that's it. KA5C.
Thanks, Court, for signing in today. And another weekend overachiever. Man, it totally shows you guys are brothers. All that activity, gardening, and romantic solo walking in the rain. Yes, I think everyone should walk in the rain. Our kids at our school get all frenzied up when it starts sprinkling outside, and I said, hey, nothing is going to happen to your body if you get rained on. In fact, let's enjoy it. Come on, let's go play in the rain. So I'm glad that you're a playing in the rain kind of guy. Rowing and roast cooking and preparing your home for your lovely wife. Man, you are not only an overachiever weekend warrior, but you're also seems to be a pretty cool husband. So, Court, I would say that your weekend qualifies as a blast. Good job.
Thank you. I also removed the cruise control from the Rover van, so and I sold it, and that was a good chunk of money.
Better be paying attention now to the speed limit. If you don't have the cruise control anymore, you're gonna be getting in trouble on that guy out there.
Well, it's that big camper van, and it never really did well with cruise control. So I think I was 8 years ago when I put it in, I was optimistic, and now I'm realistic about it. And I don't mind. I don't notice it when if I can do a 12-hour day driving cross country in that thing, and I don't need cruise control. So there's plenty of other ways to leak money. It's like a boat, so I could take that money and put it somewhere else. I think I've already spent that money, to be honest.
I'm sure it went to ham radio, something tells me, but dude, and those plants those fruits that you were harvesting, do you have a garden in the back of your house, or are you doing boxes or pots? How are you handling those things?
What we have now is sheep tanks, which they're the long, sort of oblong galvanized steel, like horse troughs, but they're full of soil. They drain well. Oh, we've got corn, cucumbers, cantaloupe. I'm looking out there trying to remember it all. What I pulled today was heirloom tomatoes, and they are a little bit different in coloring, so I don't really know when to harvest them, but I did my best guess. Oh, one thing else, I hung a 6-meter end-fed antenna this weekend, so I just keep remembering stuff that I did that I filed it away like, oh, that's done. Okay, let's move on to something else. But yeah, I put up a 6-meter end-fed.
So is that a vertical or a horizontal 6-meter?
Right now it's horizontal, but I left it so that I could sort of rethrow it, and I actually did that this weekend. I pulled the bitter end of it out of the tree and threw it in a different direction, and just kind of experimenting with it. My guess is that this antenna is not going to meet with my satisfaction, and well, the cruise control money went towards that's right. I did already spend that cruise control money because it went towards a 6-meter Omni angle that shipped on Friday and should be here Wednesday.
Going to be part of the rover?
Oh no, this is just for home use because I have everything except 6 meters here, and someone in my life keeps bugging me about 6 meters. I'll give you one guess who that is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. I've heard rumors about the 6-meter node and all kinds of stuff. I have a 6-meter vertical here. I haven't installed it yet. I don't think I'll install it anytime soon, but it's stashed there because we have to have stuff stashed just in case. But I have a question back to your garden. Do you have an automatic watering system, or do you go out twice a day and water those plants? I'm just curious.
Good question. Just this year, and actually over the past 2 winters, I built an irrigation system in the yard, and that was first done in December of 20, where we did the east part of the yard, and Jennifer did all the digging and the planning of it, and then I put in all the pipe and all the electrical stuff. Actually, she did most of the low pressure pipe, and I did all the high pressure stuff, and then I did all the wiring, and then the following winter, this past December, I did the west yard, and once again, it was sort of team digging and laying the tubing down, and I did all the electrical stuff, and then it's all controlled by an app, as you could guess, and so that, the funny thing is, like the other day, I was sitting here in the middle of the day, and the sprinklers turned on suddenly, and I texted Jennifer, who was in Berlin. I said, is that you? And she said, yeah, I'm just controlling the sprinklers from Germany. What a world.
Pretty wild. Does that allow you guys to plant during June and August and September, the really hot times, or do you guys still take a break?
The irrigation system is coupled with a flume, Fox Lima Uniform Mike Echo flume water meter management system, and it's essentially a magnet with a Wi-Fi transceiver on it that reports the impeller revolutions on the water meter, and so anytime the water turns on, we get an idea of what it's doing and how much water we're consuming. So having that information is pretty important towards how we ration water. And yes, now that it gets hot it's always getting hot, but when it gets hotter in the late parts of the summer, we're able to control the water a little bit more. The irrigation for the raised, not really raised beds, but the sheep tanks in the garden is all drip irrigation, and that means, as you know, we can be very efficient with the water.
That's awesome. Yeah, we usually take a break here because I do the irrigation by hand. But I'm from Puerto Rico, and I just got back from back home, and it's funny because back home it rains like every afternoon. You don't have to irrigate anything; you just put a seed there and come back a couple of weeks later, and you have a plant. So pretty cool, dude. I'm glad that you guys have that figured out. It sounds like a really awesome setup where you can control it from distance. That's pretty cool. I'm actually surprised that exists, but at the same time, I guess I shouldn't because nerds, we have everything figured out. That was pretty cool. Court, I appreciate you checking in, man. Thanks for checking in. It's been nice talking to you, and we would let you go. But first, does anybody have a question or comment for Court?
Alpha India 5 Oscar Sierra, AI5OS. Click, just want to make sure that I've got it, AI5OS.
Is it, I have down KI5OS or is it AI5OS? Sorry.
It's Alpha India 5OS, AI5OS, name's Justin there.
Come on in, Justin.
I just had a question for Court. I was wondering how he did his pork roast, because I did some pulled pork this weekend as well. I used a pellet smoker, and I smoked it until it got up to about 160 degrees, and then I first I did season it with some, it's called Texas Sweet Heat, and then I smoked it until it got to 160 degrees on the pellet smoker. Then I wrapped it and cranked it up to about 400 degrees and pulled it off, and it's pretty good stuff. So I was just kind of curious about that. AI5OS.
All right. Well, this is a pork roast recipe I've been making about 15 years, and it is I start on Saturday morning and put, fennel, juniper berries, about 18 peppercorns, salt, honey, and one other important ingredient that I am forgetting, and let that sit overnight. And then this morning, I put it in at about 5:30 in the crock pot, and then I take it out 12 hours later, and I do it on low. And when it comes out, it's just awesome. Then I add potatoes to it around noon. I put some potatoes in foil so that when I take it out at 5:30 in the evening, there's no work to be done except to plate it and eat it, and that's how I like it. So I hope that answers your question about the pork roast. Ernesto, you reminded me of a photograph my dad took when he was stationed in Puerto Rico. My parents lived there for several years, and Kyle was born there. And it's a photograph of a flag, the U.S. flag, with a storm cloud behind it. And my mom said that every day at a certain time you could rely on the rain to start falling around Aguadilla. And they said that, it was just reliably raining. And this photograph is a sort of an expression of that daily occurrence.
Well, yes, sir. That's definitely true. It's usually every afternoon. There's a season there, like right after Lent, where for a couple of months it gets a little bit drier. But other than that, I mean, I'm walking by my parents' house, and there's like a little crack on the concrete in the floor, and there's this huge tomato plant with this humongous tomatoes coming out of that crack, concrete crack. I tell me this place is something else. You don't even have to take care of plants. You just put the seed, or in that case, the birds took care of that because it just it just came out there. But yeah, it is true. It rains every afternoon there for sure. All right. Well, I appreciate Court again for checking in, and Justin for coming in with the question. We're gonna call. Well, actually, I should do a station ID. It's been a while. This is the Weekend Windown Net, hosted by Ernesto KI5PZN from the 224.100 repeater.
And Mireya, KI5SYX from the 442.325 repeater.
Sunday nights at 8 p.m. via the University Link repeater system. We're going to call for more check-ins, so please come in with your call sign and name.
Alpha India 5 Oscar Sierra. I'll go ahead and check in.
Justin, I got you in on the log.
K5J importable. Sam.
All right, well, appreciate the check-ins. Justin, what's going on this weekend? How's the weekend treating you?
It's been a bad weekend. Today is actually the start of my weekend, so it's been kind of a lazy day. I kind of got up this morning, and I work on Saturday, so although I did play a little bit of hooky just to try out a new toy I got, which is an amp for HF. Saturday night I put a pork roast on. Well, I smoked a pork butt in my Pit Boss Hammertone pellet smoker. I put it on and tried a different recipe, which was, going up to 150 degrees, wrapping it, and then cranking the smoker up to 400 degrees, 350, 400, and letting it go. And it turned out really well. Hung out with my wife a little bit. We kind of have been doing all of the domesticity stuff that goes on with having a house and getting food from HEB. And today I have honestly been playing a bit with this amp, and I've been reading a book, a couple of books by Jeff Sharp, an author that I really like. And I don't know. We'll see what the second day of my weekend turns out.
Thanks for checking in on our first net, Dustin. And first day of the weekend is always so sweet. There are always so many possibilities, and it sounds like you've already started out with a bang. Beautiful smoked pork butt. Yes. Smoking that sucker, do it. Now, I know there's an art to doing that. I know you can dry that out. What is your secret for moist butts and not dry ones?
Well, that's a good question. So I generally take and I prepare the pork butt. I usually put some kind of mesquite-type seasoning. I cover it up really good, and then what I do is I will spritz it down with some sweet tea, actually, because when you the goal is to get that sugar from the sweet tea to kind of caramelize on the meat and give it kind of that sweet and kind of smoky flavor. Or that's what I'm trying to perfect anyway. I've just very recently, I've only been smoking for the past few months. I've been looking for a smoker that I could control. And so using the pit ball, it allows
Justin, are you still there? I think we just, I don't know if we lost you there at the very end.
Okay, let's try this. And I think this handheld is on the fritz there. Yeah, what I did is I've just started recently smoking meat. Trying to perfect brisket and pork butt because, well, hey, it's becoming more and more expensive to take a lift anywhere, and because you wouldn't want me driving on the street just to go get barbecue. Figure, well, if it's going to be more and more difficult, I'll just make my own. So I'm kind of learning how this works and trying to perfect this. So now that I have an accessible smoker that I can make talk to me from an app and control it, it's a worthy venture.
You know, when you said sweet tea and sugar, yes, we are very familiar with that. Covering that meat up and spritzing it, yes, that is a secret for the moist meat. We were in Puerto Rico about 6 months ago. Ernesto's family prepared a whole pork, a whole pig. And in Puerto Rico, it's called lechon asado. And it's in a homemade artifact kind of thing. It turns. It's a manual turning thing. And the pork goes round and round for many, 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 many hours. And the secret of moist pork, while having a crunchy skin, is that spritz of water with some sugar. That is the secret. So I think you're on the right track, Dustin. Experimenting with it is always what you're going to do to get your own personal recipe right. And when you said I've got an app for it, Ernesto and I both looked at each other because, of course, there's an app for that. So we wish you the very best with your pork experiments with your new smoker. And I wonder, what is Jeff Shannon? I didn't see that. I didn't hear the author's name. What is his type of writing about? I haven't heard his name before.
Jeff Shara takes some events and writes stories, tries to kind of rechronicle events from the participants of that event based on journals and letters and any kind of factual archives that pertain to some people. So if you're reading about, the American Revolution, there are some books called Rise to Rebellion is the first one. And it kind of deals with John Adams and, his cousin Samuel Adams, Thomas Jefferson. But he writes the story, based on what their thoughts were from accounts in their journals and all the correspondence that are available. Likewise, he's done it for the Civil War, the World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and even some other types of things. But it's a very fascinating look inside the minds of people that were actually there. And
They are obviously still fiction, but they are surprisingly accurate. So they're really good novels there. Go ahead.
Novels based on historical events are always a favorite of mine personally. I'll write him down on my list of authors to look up because that sounds like something that I would be interested. I'm sure others would too. So thank you for sharing that author with us. Excellent. Okay, let's move on. But before that, let's ask for comments for Justin.
Nothing heard. We're going to move now to, thank you, Justin, for checking in. We appreciate you checking in tonight's net. Now we're going to Sam, K5JM. Sam, what's going on, man? How's the weekend treating you?
This is K5JM Portable Sam. Yeah, weekend's going good, Ernesto. And I'm curious, I'm trying a new setup. I'm curious how my audio sounds compared to everybody else. Like, strength-wise and loudness-wise, if I'm speaking loud enough or how my mic gain is sounding.
Well, I can hear you clear. The actual volume, it's a little bit low, but I can hear you clearly here.
Okay, thanks for the feedback, Ernesto. And I'm trying a different setting now, so this is super helpful. Difference as far as being able to hear me.
Yes, whatever you did, that worked better. I can hear you. Better. It's significantly better from the previous setting that you had.
Okay, Ernesto. Well, yeah, we'll have to roll with that. That's as good as it gets for now. But yeah, I'm cross-banding basically, so trying to figure that out. Had my AllStar node. I guess that's kind of a hiccup right before the net, so I just abandoned that, and I'm on the cross-banding as I'm walking around the neighborhood on an evening walk here. So it's been a good weekend otherwise. Kind of relaxing, got a little bit of work done. Made a CW contact into Poland the other night, so that was on 20 meters. So that's good DX for me any day of the week. And yeah, it's just been kind of relaxing. Excited to catch this net.
That's really awesome, man. And that Poland contact, that's pretty rad in CW. Man, I have so much to learn on CW. I've been studying, but boy, oh boy, it takes a while. It takes a while. It's definitely a third language for me, and it's taking a little bit longer than what I thought, but I'm gonna keep on doing it and pushing and trying to get it because it sounds like a really awesome mode to get in, and I know that for DX it's pretty wild because the conditions don't have to be perfect and you can still get through more than with voice. So that's really awesome, and the crossband, yeah, dude, that works fine. It's cool that you get to walk around the neighborhood and still get in on the 220. Yeah, dude, that's pretty fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ernesto. Yeah, I'm actually on 2 meters cross-bending to 440, but yeah, normally the AllStar would be on 220, but I don't know. I need to go back and look at some settings. There was something I was trying to swap it over, and it wasn't connecting, so that may have been me, you heard, dialing a couple of things before the net, trying to get it going, so just went back to what I knew.
Well, I'm glad it worked out, and I'm really happy that you checked in on the net. I'm really happy always to hear from you. Anybody out there has a comment for our friend Sam? Come in with your call sign.
I have a comment for Sam. So this weekend, as part of my itinerary, was relaxing, and I saw a movie from Poland this weekend. I know it's not ham related, but you said Poland, and I remember the movie I just saw. I don't remember the name. Obviously, it's in Polish, but in English, I think it's called something like "Staying In for the Murder" or "Staying In for the Kill." It is a very light-hearted murder mystery. Redhead is playing Agatha Christie type detective work, and she lives in a small town in Poland where two murders have occurred, and she's Lucille Ball of mystery solving. So I think that maybe if anybody's on Netflix, they'll look for that movie. Just look for international movies, and I'm sure it'll come right up. But what makes me excited about international movies and movies from other places is we lose track that they're the same people in the other side of the planet like we are. So we always feel like people are different from us, and America's this and America's that, but no, we're all the same. And so I always think about that when I see those foreign movies. So anyway, look that movie up on Netflix. Since you have Poland on your mind, maybe if you're a Netflix subscriber, you can look for it, Sam.
Okay, Maria, yeah, I sure will, and very interesting. And yeah, you're right. I've had the opportunity to do some international traveling, and I'm looking forward to getting back into doing a little bit more of that here in the next, into maybe late this year and into next year. And yeah, that was my big first takeaway, is visiting. One of the big first places I went internationally was to Thailand, and very different culture and norms and things like that. But there is something universal about that everyone still has their own wants and needs, and we're all kind of the same, and it was really kind of made me start thinking about things a little differently. So that was the first big experience with that. And, well, thanks for sharing that, Maria. And, yeah, excited that y'all had a good time on your own recently. And so I decided to start this net tonight. K5J and Portable, back to net.
All right, Sam, and thanks again for checking into the net. It's always really nice to hear you, man. And you have an awesome rest of the Sunday and a kick-ass week. This is KI5PZN, and I should do another station ID. This is the Weekend Windown net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN. From the 224.100 repeater.
And Mireya, KI5SYX, from the 442.325 repeater.
Sunday night at 8 p.m. via the University Link repeater system. We are looking for check-in, so if you would like to participate, please come in with your call sign and name.
KG5UNK, Doug.
November Echo 5 Papa, Mark, coming in through Echolink.
This is.
All right, well, we got Doug here, KG5UNK, and Mark, so we're going to go first to Doug. Hey, Doug, what's cooking, man? How's the weekend treating you?
Oh, good. We've just been kind of hanging out. We had kind of an eventful morning, I guess, on Saturday morning when that storm came through. The lightning hit a house about 6 houses away from us. It was loud enough that it kind of freaked out the dog. It hasn't ever happened before since we've had him, so it was kind of weird. But all good here. It's just really loud. And then we just kind of hung out, watched a couple movies on Saturday night, and worked out in the garage all afternoon today. Wasn't any F1 on this weekend, so didn't have anything else to watch.
Man, that sounds pretty crazy. The lightning part. Did all of your equipment survive? All of the electronics at the house?
Well, thankfully everything was unplugged. Trina woke me up early enough. She heard it, woke me up, made sure everything was disconnected, and luckily it's a little ways away. It's like I said, it's probably 6 to 8 houses down, another street over, so it wasn't like real close. But let me tell you, man, we heard a tick and then a boom and the flash all at the same time, and I knew it was pretty close. Luckily and unluckily, we have a major transmission line in our backyard, literally in our backyard. So we've got a good lightning rod, if you would. But man, that poor house wasn't the lucky victim, was unlucky victim.
Well, I'm glad that your stuff survived, and thank goodness you're still in the air. Did you do any fox hunting this week? And I don't think I heard you say anything about the fox.
No, actually I didn't. I didn't go out and look for it this time. I guess it was I saw the map and it was somewhat south, so I kind of said, no, I'll stick it out up on this side of town this weekend. And I'm trying to get my garage cleaned up so I can put one of my machines together and help give me some more space there. KG5UNK.
Dude, it sounds like you had a good weekend overall, and you got lucky there and didn't get fried by the storm. Yeah, that was pretty scary. I got up early on Saturday, saw it on the radar, and run to the room and unplugged everything. But yeah, it was raining sideways here. But yeah, dude, I'm glad that you survived that. Anybody has any comment or questions for Doug? Come in with your call sign and name.
K5JM.
Hey, Sam, come in. Come in, Sam, K5JM.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing y'all talk about the storm. I'm pretty far south here, between Slaughter and Ditmar, between, I guess, South First and Menchaca. And that storm, I heard some rumbles of thunder, but it wasn't enough to alarm me. And I had a nice lazy morning listening to the rain. I mean, we just barely got, not even a tenth of an inch. I mean, it was just enough to wet the rain gauge, but not enough to measure. And so we totally missed out on it down south here. And then I had to run north later in the morning around 9 o'clock, and I was driving up Mopac, and there was actually standing water, puddles of standing water on Mopac. So man, talk about missing out.
Yeah, it came down. I was having a hard time seeing the houses across the street from us. That was about 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30, somewhere within that range, and it poured pretty good for a while, and didn't have a lot of high winds, but there was plenty of thunder and lightning. G5UNK.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again, Doug, for checking in on the Weekend Windown net, the first one. Appreciate you coming in, as usual. Always nice talking to you. We're now going to move to Mark, NE5C. Mark, how's life treating you, man? Hello, Mark. You still there? I know you're using Echolink, and sometimes it has a delay. Mark, if you're still with us, come in, man.
Okay, let me try this again. I guess it somehow the VTT did not work. So yeah, to answer the question, pretty good weekend. Just winding down. We got back from vacation on Friday. Wife and I went to Cabo for celebrate our 35th anniversary. Spent 5 nights down there. Can't complain. Other than that, it's been pretty uneventful. Also messed around with the garden. I'd harvested some pickles. Did some pickling. Didn't do any barbecue, but I did make some Thai basil chicken with rice for dinner this evening. So all in all, pretty good. Thanks.
Well, congratulations. 35 years. Amazing. And wonderful that you were able to go to a hopefully wonderful anniversary vacation in Mexico. Well, that is a biggie, man. Thank you for sharing that with us. Hopefully it was a wonderful time. And glad that you were back safely. Gardening, pickling, cooking wonderful dinners. Man, it sounds like your week was a blast, and your weekend was a little bit of a blast, too.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, it was a pretty low-key weekend. Wife picked up a little bit of a cold, but she's doing better, but can't complain. Overall, got a couple projects I'm starting to spin up. Did not get to those this weekend, but hoping to get to it next weekend in terms of radio projects. But yeah, overall, pretty good. Thanks. Thanks for the congratulations, and E5P.
All right, Mark. I appreciate you checking in, and awesome that you had a good weekend and everything else that you just mentioned there. Sound like a really awesome last few days or last week. I'm glad, dude. I'm really glad. Anybody has a comment or a question for Mark? Right, nothing heard. I am going to do a station ID, and we're going to wrap up the net soon because the swap net is coming up at 9 p.m. on the 146-940 repeater. This is the Weekend Windown net, hosted by Ernesto, KI5PZN, from the 224.100 repeater.
And Mireya, KI5SYX from the 442.325 repeater.
On Sunday nights at 8 p.m. via the University Link repeater system.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the very first Weekend Wind Down Net. We hope that even if your weekend was a bust, and definitely if your weekend was a blast, that we all keep the momentum, focus on the positive, and here's to a great start to your week.
Big thanks to Kyle, KA5D, for letting us use the University Link repeater system. Please visit the University Link repeater system website to learn more. That's ka5d.com. I'm Ernesto, KI5PZN, using the 224.100 repeater.
And I'm Mireya, KI5SYX, using the 441.325 repeater. And from our QTH in East Austin, 73. And thanks again for participating and listening tonight. The system is now returned to regular amateur use.
Great job, Ernesto and Mireya. Talk to you next time, K5JM. We'll QSY to the swap net.
Thank you, Sam. Always nice hearing you. KI5PZN.
KI5PZN, KI5MVF. A great net, Ernesto. I tried to jump in once, but I guess I doubled with you on the last check-in round, but good net. I enjoyed listening. Look forward to next week.
Hey, Jeffrey, thank you for calling in. I'm going to put you here on my log. We have 7 people, and I forgot to mention that. We got Kyle, Court, Justin, Sam, Doug, Mark, and Jeffrey. Thank you guys for checking in tonight.
Actually, Jeffrey, let's go ahead and ask. Last minute. We've got 3 minutes before the next net. Tell us, was your weekend a bust or a blast?
Oh, it was a blast. Yesterday was Ashley's birthday, so we went up and we rented an Airbnb just south of Killeen on a 20-acre ranch, and we got to see stars. We got to see the river that the property was on, the Lampasas River, a bunch of wildlife, beautiful birds and hawks and deer and rabbits and some longhorns. Heard some turkeys in the distance. It was a great time. And then we just kind of chilled around the Airbnb and had some birthday cake, played some board games, and celebrated Ashley. So it was a blast. Definitely not a bust. KI5MVF. Back to that.
Jeffrey, that is a blast. Going out to nature, hearing animals doing their thing, looking at the stars out in nature. Man, what a wonderful thing. Congratulations to Ashley for surviving on our planet for another year. And she's a lucky gal to have you in her life. Thanks, Jeffrey, for sharing your blast-filled weekend. See you soon.
All right. Thank you very much for you guys hosting the net. I'll see you next week. If not, on another net, on another night, or later tonight. KI5MVF. I'll be clear.